Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Well, so we have a member of parliament in the studio and a former member of parliament, but we have to start with the discussions. And Dr. Okoboy is a member of parliament for Lojekuku. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
How are you?
Very fine.
Great. And we also have Theophilus Tetechai, a good friend, former MP for Ablekuma Central. How are you?
Yeah, great.
All right. And I know that prominently we've had some key issues to discuss, but the president has nominated 212 MMDCEs, and I have to start with you.
Yeah.
Following that, we had some upheavals and all that. But first, what will be your general observations about the nominations?
Thank you very much, Roland. First of all, let me say a very good morning to all our viewers, and also to the leader of our party and the president of the republic. President is enough, President Akufo-Addo, and to his entire team, and also to my people in Lojekuku. I don't know, I think looking your screen, I see Benjamin and Bernard. Yes, not Benjamin.
I didn't mention Benjamin.
Yeah,
really?
I see it written.
Okay, you are seeing it, but I didn't mention it.
Yeah, no, it's not you. It's not you. You are.
So it's Bernard
Okoboy.
Okoboy.
Yes.
Okay, but I think Dr. Okoboy is.
I always use the Okoboy. Bernard is on my certificate.
Fantastic.
My birth certificate.
So it's Dr. Okoboy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Roland. MMDCES, right? I think it is very commendable to have a government that is able to form the entire team. I think largely, I can say largely the team has been formed within just over 100 days. I think that is very commendable. What it tells us is that this president was very prepared, even whilst in opposition, and that is commendable. We as a country, we have a lot of issues, and it is important that we get ready as quickly as possible. And that's why when the State of the Nation address, the president said, I was in a hurry. When there were comments from certain quarters that it looks like president is in a hurry, he said, yes, I'm truly in a hurry. We just want to make sure that we address some of our problems as soon as possible. To have 212 MMDCs and then have people protesting, you have some contestations about 4 or 5 of them. I think it's not beyond 5. That is commendable. Why am I saying so? If you look at the percentage, about 4 names or 5 names out of 212, that's just around 2%. So what it means is that consultation was largely good. It was done broadly. There's no way you can have an absolute where you name 212 people and the whole country be silent. A few people will have disagreements. My only issue is the manner in which the disagreements or disenchantments are carried out, where you have open violence, you have agitations and all that. I always tell people I meet that the political party its components, its formation, its picture. It's a mirror of what we have in our society. In the church, there are people who openly argue with ushers when they are asked to take some particular pews. What I'm trying to say is that this spirit of resistance or confrontation or indiscipline, it's across board. And in political parties, we have people like that. It comes down to management. Quickly, we have to have regional level management, constituency level management. In my constituency, for example, Lechikuku, we fall under Lekma, Lechikuku Krowo municipality. We form the municipality together with Krowo, so two constituencies having a municipality. It is on some of us to make sure that we go out there and prevent some of these things, to explain the issues, why that particular candidate. If there are certain reservations about the candidate, we have to find a way of managing, and then we see the way forward. The president can go down and explain everything. We at the constituency and regional levels must make sure that sometimes we're even proactive. Where we sense people are, there's memory and grumbling down there, we just go there quickly, talk to them, see how we can address it. But I think finally, let me say that it is because of all these challenges that the president, in his wisdom, said that next year we are going to work on a legislative instrument or framework to make sure that we. Because when you choose a leader for a particular group, no matter how genuine your intentions are.
Next year, so 2018.
Yes, next year, yes.
Sorry.
Yes. No matter how genuine your intentions are, you might have a few who will disagree. But when the leader is voted for, people have come to understand democracy. That once the majority say we go with this individual, that is binding. So those are some of the initial remarks.
And so we have 212 of them. What do you make of the underpinnings? Already we've had some already nominated, I believe, for, is it Tamale, for Accra, and Kumasi? Or did we have for Kumasi as well?
Yeah, we have.
Before this one, so
I think the four.
That's why we had.
So to make it
as a metropolitan.
What do you make of perhaps all the underpinnings, the agitations that were there, the undercurrents before the nomination and thereafter? We've had riots being reported at Zebila, Savalogu, Nonton, etc., and even some agitations even prior.
Yeah, for me, first of all, let me say that it is good. It is better late than never for His Excellency the President nominating. For some time now, there has been a vacuum. You know, the current government had a departure from what some of the strategies that the late Professor Mills put in place, where he allowed previous government appointees to be in office until his nominations were ready. And I believe that was a very good example for good governance. Unfortunately, the current president also had his own style. He decided to sack all the former appointees.
Is it sack or let them step aside?
Of course, they've been sacked. And then allow a vacuum to be created. And you see, in public management, when vacuum are created, it leads to a lot of mishap or sometimes things are not done rightly. And I believe that the incoming newly nominated chief executives, if they are approved by the various municipal district assemblies and so on and so forth, some of them may be having certain challenges. Can be swept under the carpet. A lot. If the political head is not available. And I believe that with their coming in now, they will do a lot to ensure that they clear the system out of any fraudulent activity before they start work. It's very, very important. But it should be a lesson for all of us. I believe that governance, we need to execute our governance system in such a way that we will always not create vacuum to allow things that are not palatable to the citizenry to occur. So I believe that in the next government, or the next government that will take over from President Akufo-Addo's government. We should not emulate that example that has been set by the current president. For me, I think it is not a good way of governing this country. We should not allow vacuum to be created. Now, as to party members not singing the same song with the president, it happens all the time. And I don't think the president is there to please party supporters. No. The president is there to ensure that the good people of this country have value for money in terms of appointees, what they are going to do to enhance our livelihood within the country. That should be the focus. And so, although a party is formed out of the party machinery, they should, in a way, understand the leadership. You will not get all the things that you want. Definitely, if you go to a district, if you look at the competence, the caliber of human resource that a political party may have, it will even become very difficult to pick somebody as a chief executive. But you have to at least pick one person. So out of the lot, definitely one person will be picked to lead that community or that district. And I believe that once the nominations have come, party supporters needs to calm down, accept whoever has been chosen, and then work together to ensure that reasons why the president is appointing such a person into that position, that vision comes to pass. And I think that is what party supporters needs to do. Rather, they shouldn't be fighting leadership for the person that has been nominated. If the person doesn't perform, it will come to the fore. And the president has that right again to what? Sack that DCE. So the onus lies on party supporters within the various districts who are not enthused with the nominations that have been put forward to rather help the president to succeed.
Mm. And we have Dr. Nicholas Ni Okan. He's Director of Academics, New York University, United States of America, USA. Okay, and he is on the line. He's also a security expert, and this is the second time I'm speaking to him. Good morning to you, Dr. Okan.
Good morning. How is it?
I'm good, sir. Now, we've had reports of sporadic violence in some areas across the country following the nominations that were announced by the president. Kind of gives a certain sense of insecurity in some of those areas. Why do you think that party supporters who perhaps feel that they are intended people who needed to be nominated or not and not getting the nod should go on rampage and do what they are doing?
Thank you very much. It's unfortunate, though, that this is getting to the extreme, but define politics as who gets what, when, and how. I think we are in the current podcast space for these claims to be made on the podcast system. And I believe strongly that people are doing all they can to spread their feathers to be seen as the best, candidates for most of these positions. What we have to bear in mind is that these are people who are making on the podcast structure, and we only have to support to do this, but we have to ensure that in this process they don't breach the law. But to tell you the truth, this is the time for this. After an election, this is what happens. You have people, pushing for space, trying to outwit each other, to flag their geography and ethnicity as for them to look best for most of these political slots or positions that we have available. I think what the security agency, and for that matter, the police will have to do is the police will have to ensure that people do properly, people are prevented from vandalizing the properties, and also people are educated. I think the police also have to educate people when it's to times like this, that fine, you have the right to make demands on your podcast system or when it comes to your podcast party at this stage, but then you can't stretch it across this particular line, and this is what we need. But I think, to tell you the truth, I can see this happening throughout the country, especially when the assemblies will need to have a hand in this process. It's going to very interesting. But then we don't have to be afraid. This is part of politics. This is what we should be seeing. This tells people are interested in the political process. And I think gradually Ghana is maturing, getting there.
Now, particularly when we have the security agencies who are supposed to be operating in the various areas of the country, needing to pick up a bit of intel, and they are not picking it up, what does it tell you as a security person?
Well, when it comes to issue of picking up intel, I think it's quite complicated. I think I mentioned sometime to you that going forward, I believe strongly that the president will have to look at the existing security architecture, to look at how best it can be, how it can be improved. I'll be very careful with my words here. But then I believe strongly that if you are a new government and you have a structure, and you have your vision, you have your targets, you have a structure, an existing structure in place, you have to critically look at this structure to ensure that the way it functions, when you're to your benefit, will help you realize the vision that you set before you. So I think when it comes to issues of intelligence gathering, I think if you look at what has happened over the few weeks, I think maybe 2 months back, we are not, I think, doing the best when it comes to that. And I think going forward with this issue, the police and the other agencies will have to be up when it comes to picking intelligence to ensure that we don't allow issues to escalate. In fact, when it comes to this whole issue of nominations and approvals, it's going to be very complicated, really very complicated. We're talking about all the districts. Apart from Kumasi and Accra, it's going to be something else. I think it's going to be something else. So we have to be ready. The police will have to be ready, and the other security agencies will also have to be very to preventing and ensuring that things do not, or we don't have things escalating in this country.
Well, thank you very much. Dr. Nicholas Ni Okain, he's Director of Academics, New York University, but also a security expert on the subject. But Theophilus, what do you think the president needs to do then? Because don't you think the party executives, the various appointees of government in those areas, should have known that these are trouble spots because there were underpinnings or current underhand dealings before even the nominated people were announced?
Well, as to the leadership becoming aware of the threats, that one, I would say, is very difficult to tell. But then, we, as a state, we have institutions that are responsible for security. And when such situations come up, the onus lies on the security services to act promptly. I believe that if you look at the videos, the pictures that are being shown to us, I believe that by now some people have been arrested. And you see the impunity with which supporters of the MPP are taking violence, unleashing violence on the citizenry, destroying public properties and so on and so forth, is becoming too much. It's becoming too much. And it is a dent on the image of the current government. That you have supporters who are ready to destroy. Look at destroying state property. And people should be held accountable. Because at the end of the day, the items that have been destroyed, we are the ones who are going to pay for the damage. So for me, I think the MPP as a political party needs to bring their supporters to order. Let them understand that they are in charge of the security of this country. And so therefore, anything they do contrary to the rules and regulations, they'll be dealt with. Once these have started and punishment are not being met out to people who do certain things, you are going to have reprisal effects in other areas. And don't forget, this is just the nominations. Now, they have to go through another phase, which is the confirmation from the district assemblies using the government appointees to confirm them. And that is also going to be another challenge, because that is where the real fight is going to take place. Because those who are against such nominees will take it to the district assemblies. And just imagine, about 212, if about half of these areas are going to face such problems, the police service, therefore, needs to act swiftly. This is what is going to happen. And some of us are giving them the lead. That it is not just the nominations that have come out and people
you're saying that these are indications.
Yes, as to what is going to happen at the district assembly
but it's not only
level.
peculiar to this government per se. I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
we witnessed it within the last 2
and that's why I'm saying that the onus lies on the security services to foresee what is going to happen next. Because people may not agitate against a particular candidate, but when it comes to the district assembly level, a different scenario is going to take place. So the police service has a lot of work to do within this period when these nominees are going to be confirmed. They need to be present at every district assembly where these nominees are going to be confirmed to ensure that there is law and order. Any further destruction of state property, we will hold the security services responsible, apart from the MPP government.
Okay. So you as party people, then, it means that the consultation needs to be deepened to make sure that you get a consensus before we go to the next stage of the approval process at the assembly level.
Yeah, Roland, you know, that's why when I started, I mentioned that when you look at the number of appointees, 212, to have people memory or grumbling about 4, maximum about 5 of them, that should tell you that the consultation was really broad. Your consultation, no matter how intense and wide it was, cannot give you absolute, how do you call it, agreement across the country. You know, and it's a conflict of many interests. I mean, people with all kinds of interests. The president's ultimate interest is that of development. But others might have the interest which might
other
not.
interests.
Exactly. So you by always have a few people who disagree. And it's unfortunate that my brother, Tezechai, is saying that it's becoming unbecoming of the MPP violence and all that.
Is it not true?
I'm coming.
You think it's politicking?
You know, it's also because of such anticipation from him that I said what we see in political parties largely is a mirror of the people we have in society. The people who form a party. Political parties are the few organizations that you can't tell an armed robber that you have a history of robbery, so don't join us. All kinds of people are there. And this must be made very clear. The existence or occurrence of an aberrant behavior is not a reflection of the character of a group. It is how the group responds to the aberrant behavior that determines their nature.
And this one is psychology?
Oh,
Criminal psychology?
I mean, it's just, I don't want to say it.
It's your own conceptualized way of interpreting the situation.
Exactly. So in the church, if one member of a church is involved in immoral behavior, that is not the nature of the whole church. Okay. But how they react, if they say this is normal, this is not a big deal. I mean, in some places people are married to 4 or 5. Then you have an idea of the philosophy of the church. So this is across board. And you know what? To admit that we have all kinds of elements in the group is what will make us position ourselves to see how to address the situation. So that is very important. Now, at the, like Teacher said, at the assembly level, we need to get into action now. All leaders, like he said, we have to be proactive. We have to start talking to groups. All these people who are protesting, they have identifiable leaders. You call them. You know, calling a leader even to the table is a sign of respect and acknowledgement that their concern, no matter how placed or misplaced, is valid and should be looked at. So this is some of the, these are some of the positions or how do you call it, strategies we have to take to ensure that as much as possible we minimize the disagreements. You know, some few years ago, even appointment, executive appointment, ministerial appointment, the way some people were able to tell a president that ours has been on the on ice or is taking too long was to burn a few billboards, and immediately the response came. That was some years ago. That is not the nature of the whole political party, but it's the language some people speak. We just must discourage our people from speaking that language all the time.
Chief Floss, How then is the promise, of course, your party also had given the indication they would have done same, election of DCEs or MMDCEs. How would they perhaps help ameliorate the current situation of agitations if they know that the people they agitate for or want to support have been put into electorable positions, and if they are elected or not, then their positions will be silenced or perhaps also affirmed?
Yeah, when you allow people to go through adult suffrage, at the end of the day, decisions reached are acceptable.
More acceptable?
More acceptable.
Really?
Because, because you brought your idea, somebody also brought his or her idea. At the end of the day, the majority said, this is the person we want. So for me, it is good that as part of their manifesto pledge, the MPP indicated to the good people of this country that come 2018, we are no more going to see the president nominating candidates to be vetted and accepted by the districts, the MMDCES and so on and so forth. But this time, ordinary citizens will be allowed to contest that position. So it becomes non-political. It becomes non-political. In this case, people will be looking more at things that will enhance their, progress. And also, it will give the appointees more freedom to do their work. Because look, if you look at the district assemblies, sometimes they do things against their will. You will be there, government purchases, let's say, tractors. Maybe at your district, at that time, that is not what you need. But because your hands have been tied, you have to accept it. Sometimes they don't even have the resources to pay. So for a whole year, because of those that type of transaction, the district assembly is not able to perform other duties. Now, with His Excellency the President saying that come 2018, elections are going to be done. For me, let's wait and see. So that it means that these current chief executives are not going to last more than a year.
Well, if they are interested, they also have to put up for nomination. The white paper.
No, what I'm saying is the president's
But listen to me also. Yeah. The white paper. Yeah. Per what? Is it a Constitutional Reform Committee or Commission?
Yeah, Commission.
Okay. The recommendation was we should have an open nomination, but then the white paper from the presidency said that there will be nominations. Okay.
No, that is for the NDC.
Yes. No.
No, that's for the NDC.
Okay, okay.
That was our policy. Our policy was the fact that His Excellency the President will nominate a few, and then these people will go through the Public Services Commission for interview, and then they will be shortlisted, and the shortlisted candidates will be put forward.
Okay.
But with the MPP, theirs is not.
You don't know yet.
No. Theirs is the fact that
outright.
Yeah.
Outright.
They will just leave it for them.
We can have 20 people.
Yes, and that is democracy.
Right. Okay. And talking about democracy, everybody need to speak their mind. And before Dr. Okoboy comes in, Maxwell Agbagba is somewhere in Nima, asking normal residents of Nima what they think about their nominated person for the area, but also generally about the nominations or the people who have been nominated to take up the positions in the various MMDAs. And he's ready. Maxwell, where are you in Nima?
Yeah, hello, Roland.
Where are you in Nima?
Okay, so Roland, we are placed very close to the roundabout. I don't really know the name of this place, but it's a Nima roundabout actually.
Yeah.
Here, and I have some residents here with me. I have Jalal with me, I have Haruna here, I have Faisal here, and then I have Suhab here. As you rightly mentioned, we are here to sample, the opinion, to find out from them what they think about the phenomenon where usually when there's an announcement of, MMDCEs, DCE nominees, usually violence would, erupt, and some party loyalists will go about vandalizing properties in the name of, some of their supporters not being rewarded after their hard work. So we are here to find out from them. First of all, let me find out from Jalal. Jalal, to the crux of the issue, I mean, straight ahead, let's just move straight to the issue. Do you think that party loyalty needs to be rewarded, with party position? With a position?
Yes. First of all, I will say good morning to your cherished listeners. Yeah, straight to the issue. For me, I'll start with a scenario, you understand? In a car is full with a lot of people, but you shouldn't forget that it's only a single person who will serve as a driver, you understand? So, yes, obviously, if a party come into power, yes, there will be a lot of people who will be vying for various positions, you understand? But and we all know that it's all in all, it's only one person who's supposed to take a position at a time, you understand? So for me, I think there's a criteria they use in selecting their leaders or selecting people to take on positions, you understand? So for me, if someone is asked to take on a particular position, I think he fits into the criteria, or he's ready enough to take the position. That's why they give the person a position. So for me, I don't think there's any wrong with that. The only thing is we party members should exercise patience. Whoever is asked to lead us, we should exercise patience and then support them do their work very well.
That's an interesting perspective you've made, like interesting points you have made. Let me just dwell on that point about a bus. Haruna, Jalal said, the thing is like a bus. Obviously, we all cannot get on the bus at once. Some people would disembark from the bus, at a point in time, and other people will join. So if it is not your time now, don't you think you should patiently wait rather than going about vandalizing, properties?
Yes, I believe what they appoint those things, they should take it that some people are there. Maybe you are in a bus and the driver is there with the passengers. But when you decided to give a position to somebody who is not driving them well, when you are a community, you know somebody who will take you and lead you well. But there are some people, when they're given opportunity to rule us, they will go different way. So the government should check and give the position to those who can rule them. There are some communities, when they give position to this person, the people know that he can't rule them. So that's why there are violences at some places. The government should check those things before he gives the position to them. There are some areas they used to give a particular area. When it comes to this year, they give that area, they have the chance to rule there. I'm talking about the districts. Okay. Yeah, some of the districts, they give opportunity to only a particular area. When next year coming, is that same community who are taking their
okay. Let me now
share it equally. Yeah.
Okay. Let me now find out from you, Faisal. Faisal. So let's just take it that you help a party come. The party was in a position. You helped them to come into power. You did all your best to bring them into power, and now they're in power. They're giving out positions, and your name is not mentioned. Would you feel sad about it? Would you be angry about it?
Let me say good morning to everybody. The actual fact is that when you people, the actual fact is that when they announce the DCE, you should have patience, because you should have patience and forget about it, because God is God who give you that opportunity. Because even in Ghana, this thing, I'm not in the mood now.
Okay.
Continue, give it to somebody to.
Okay. It looks like he says. Faisal says he's not in the mood right now. I think he's getting all emotional about this. Let me come to you now. Tell me, what do you think usually, would motivate people to start vandalizing properties after the announcement of MMDCEs, MMDCE nominees and all of that? Do you think it's because sometimes they are promised positions. So when politicians are going around in the heat of the campaign, we say when we come to power, we'll make you a minister, we'll make you a DC and all of that. So when the time comes and they are not given that position, and then their followers become aggrieved. What really do you think would motivate people to go about destroying properties because of
Oh, for me, first of all, I would say some of the politicians, when it comes to politics time, they do go around making nasty promise. When you come to tell the people that, oh, they should vote for me, if I win, if I come to power, I'll do this to you. You should just tell them. We even know that politics is all about lying to the people. In order,
it is.
Politics is all about lying to the people in order to gain power. But when you go around lying to the people, you don't need to promise them. And when you come to the power and you can't even fulfill your promise. The promise is that, for instance, in our place, back at North, East Mamprusi district, our MP do promise my hometown people that, when he come to power, she'll give them, she'll be able to help them so that they will also come into the position of the DEC. But at the end of the day, we hear that Nana Akufo-Addo has even given it to different people. And since 1992 up to today, our place, they used to vote MPP a lot. We are suffering. So right now, we are just following the other town people in order to be gaining the position. That's why sometimes the MP, they will make promise at the end of the day. Some of the party people will be going around destroying party properties. So when you come and you are in need of a political power, you need to talk to the people and let them understand that not everybody can be on that position. They should come as one so that they can choose one and help that person to be able to come.
Thank you very much. So, Roland, you heard these views from the streets of Nima, specifically at the Nima roundabout. You heard my good friend Jalal, giving us that perspective of using a bus, actually. And then you also heard Haruna, you also heard Faisal, and then you heard Sohab, all sharing their views on this phenomenon or what happened yesterday, the violence that erupted yesterday after the announcement of the MMDCE nominees. Over to you, Roland, in the studio.
With Maxwell Agbagba speaking to us from just the Nima roundabout, and just close by, they have a good wache joints there. I wanted to tell him to go have a bite or a spoonful of wache before coming to the studio. But it's on the subject and the varied opinions, because they're saying that sometimes you are promised ministerial, etc., etc., or they want you to grow within the party structure, and so your supporters want you to be part of the nominations, and that's why we have these agitations.
Roland, I think in politics, I've not been in politics for maybe 40 years like other seniors. But one thing I've realized is that as much as possible, you have to respect the decisions of the leadership. If you have concerns, you have to channel it in a very civilized manner. Go to those who have the wherewithal to listen, as in who have the capacity. So I think that I remember meeting some of my constituents who were agitating for a particular person for MCE. And what I told them was that the small I've learned in politics that anytime you use open confrontation to protest about something you are looking for, you further push yourself down. It's like a vicious cycle. So as much as possible, don't spoil the waters with...
Don't muddy the waters.
Yes, don't trouble the waters with all this, open. Go approach those who...
But you think some of these agitators were instigated?
Yeah. Oh, it happens. Okay. It happens. The ordinary man on the streets...
doesn't have a mind of his own.
No, can agitate. But on some occasions too, you have people with interest, motivating them. And they do those things, they openly agitate because they feel that when their person comes, their person will take better care of them. So it's a lot of things. Now, what I want to say, which is very, very significant, is that the reason why over the years we've had leaders who have wished strongly to allow their powers to go so that MCs are voted for. Because to choose MCs across the country it is a lot of power which legitimately belongs to the president. It will take a president who is selfless, who is thinking more of his legacy than his controlling power, to say that I'm ready to let people vote for the MCs.
Well, the former president and candidate of the NDC the last time also said that. If he was re-elected in this next step.
Yeah, I mean, I will not take that from. But what I'm saying is that to have President Akufo-Addo saying that I am committed to MMDCEs being voted for, it is a big plus. We have leaders across the world who try to add more power to what they already control or have, rather than letting go of the power they have. And this is very, very significant. And we must all give him, we must all show support to the government, the president, the leader, for this particular move, and pray that it really manifests. This will bring an end, not management of the process.
We should pray that it manifests. I thought he said he's giving his...
No.
You need to pray for it.
It goes through, you need legislative framework.
That has not
so,
come.
yes, we all need to give...
It takes some process.
Yeah, it takes process. So we need to give support to the whole process so that it materializes. And once it gets materialized, all these contentions would finally, just like the ban that the president has put on the purchasing of cars, next time we will not break into people's homes because it will be history. Courtesy. Oh, but are you not aware that the president, as part of our 100 days, we have said emphatically that no appointee will be allowed to go and buy a car, whether using one or two.
True, but you said that people's homes will not be broken into if a new government comes. A new party that forms a government comes.
No, what I'm trying to say is that subsequently, you understand, subsequently. And you know what, even President Akufo-Addo has the constitution allowed the next election. The government will form, although it's in perpetuity. It's still a new one. It's not a new one, it's an old one. It's not. Are you what I'm saying?
I get you.
Yeah.
I mean, every government is a new government.
Yes, just like a parliament. Yes.
Only that the party is a new party.
Exactly. Oh. So, as for how do you call it, the 8 years, it is not in doubt. What is important is the extent of work
is that what
we put out.
Talking about where there will be legislative drafting and changing some of those clauses, etc., for us to vote is Parliament. And Parliament has come in the news strongly over the last 24 hours.
I thought you give me a last bite on this issue.
And I would want, it's about visa fraud allegations put forward by the British High Commissioner, or the British High Commissioner, I should be more precise. And it's a letter that was also written to the Speaker, of course, leaked to the media subsequently. It involves 3 sitting MPs and 1 former MP. Of course, at the time that these were undertaken, at the time they were all MPs. What do you make of the current allegations?
I think
visa fraud rocks Parliament. It's how it's captured on the front page of the Ghanaian Times.
Your question is appropriate, but it is more appropriate to start with a veteran. An 8-year veteran who has at least diplomat. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I get you. I get you. No problems. Every system, no matter once human beings are in charge, if measures are not put in place, it can be abused. And that is the reason why when you enter into Parliament, you are taken through orientation. The essence of the orientation is to draw your attention as to the environment that you are in now. You might have worked in the ministries, you might have worked at other very important places. But to be a member of Parliament or to be a minister or a deputy minister is also a privileged situation altogether. And therefore, you need to be educated as to what you need to do, what you don't have to do. And that is why the leadership of Parliament takes members through this very important event. Unfortunately, sometimes not all colleague members of Parliament do involve themselves into this orientation that goes on. And as a result, people do not take certain things very seriously. Look, in Parliament, you have a lot of Goro guys around. Because when a new parliament comes into being, they also know that these are people who are not experienced. They are naive. So they can also be smart on them. So they come to you with all sort of mouth-watering, you know, how do you call it?
Favors or
not favors, but
propositions.
Yes, yes. And if you are the type who is greedy, you fall to it. There is a lot of visa
racketeering teams around.
Yeah, around. They'll bring programs to you. We want to help your constituents. We want you to, you know, and you look. Let's say there's a program on sanitation, and then somebody comes to you. Oh, this is a program in the U.S. on sanitation. You have sanitation challenges in your constituency. You can take 2 or 3 members of your constituency that you think they need to go and learn, and then help with the sanitation issues in your community. And if you are not the type that goes deep into issues, you just fall to it, and before you realize, it is not you bringing people from your constituency to go and then learn, but he rather bringing in people that you don't know. And a lot of our colleagues have had such situations.
Confronting them.
Yes, yes. You quite remember some members were duped huge sums of money by people who claim to be. So they see Parliament as a fertile ground to also
perpetrate
their acts. And these people are still around. I realized that a name was mentioned. And I know that guy perfectly. You know, they mentioned one up here. I know him very well. And these are people who are really established.
Has he facilitated travels for you? Because you seem to, since you know him very well.
Look, once you are new.
Where did he link you to? Which country?
I don't remember. But, you know, you cannot, you know, sometimes if you are greedy.
You mean you didn't take up the proposition?
No.
By the way, I thought you took up. Which country did you go?
No, I've never taken anybody across.
So all the travels you've done is just normal application?
Yeah, normal application. Sometimes if it is parliamentary, fine, but I normally use my normal passports in my own travels. And I've never taken anybody outside this country, apart from my wife and child. I've never taken anybody outside this country. But you see, as a member of parliament, you have a lot of privileges. Doors are open for you wherever you go. So it makes entering and going out very easy. So sometimes you may think you can do anything at all and then go away with. But no. That is why when I see the new members of parliament, I try to caution them, tell them what to do, what not to do. Because yes, the liberties are there, the freedoms are there. But if you don't take care, it will lead you into trouble. And I believe that some of these, our colleagues who are falling to some of these things, thought maybe the privileges that they have is, there is no limitation. But there is a limitation. You are a public servant. You have to set good example. Okay? So if you perpetuate some of these things, what about the ignorant? You see, and at the end of the day, this story alone has gone to even tarnish the image of the country. And this will make other countries that Ghanaians would like to visit have stringent measures as to acquisition of visas. And for me, I don't think a public official should even involve his or himself in such practice. No. Because if I want to travel outside with my family, there are no restrictions. Provided they are your family members, you'll be allowed to take them a week or 2. You come back. But if you say you are going to stay there for a week, and then you apply for a visa, and let's say you are given 3 months. You see, what people don't know, when you apply for a visa, let's say, and you are given 3 months, but per your travel arrangement is for a week.
Just go for the weekend.
You have to just go for the week. The 3 months visa does not mean that go and stay there 3 months. No. After 1 week, you are an illegal immigrant.
Even though you've been given a 3 months
Exactly, exactly. Because the rule is that you are spending only 1 week.
Okay, so you're saying that you've been granted a 3-month visa entry.
Yes.
But
maybe it will be multiple.
But when you're going, they'll ask you how many days you're going to spend.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then you say a week. So at the end of 1 week,
they know that
you are expected to come back. And they keep records.
So all these things could qualify as overstay?
Yes, it's overstay.
It could be within, but overstay.
No, yeah, it's overstay. So the day you entered and then the day you come out, you know, at the various checkpoints,
the border patrols.
Exactly. And so they keep records. That yes, you said you were coming for 1 week.
And
yes,
they keep better records.
Yes. So you spend the 1 week. It means you've adhered to their conditions. And that will even lead you going the next time. You'll be even given more years.
I've even had a friend
because they know you
was given
overstay.
a visa, but he's not an MP, of course. He was given a visa. I think he had 2 years or something visa at the US. He was refused entry into at the airport.
Yeah.
They put him back onto the plane to Ghana. Yeah.
After he has been issued with
he has a visa.
Yeah.
But he got to, is it JFK or so? He was.
That's maybe the second time or the third time that he was traveling.
Yes.
It's maybe because he went the first time overstayed. But you think you have, I was given 5 years US. I went for US to stay for 2 weeks. And at the end of the second week, I was back. It doesn't mean because you have been given 5 years, you can choose to.
You have to say the reason why.
It's illegal.
All right, so let's now watch the majority leader, who is also the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs.
Mensa Bonsu shares his disappointment in the development.
Those members, at least one of them, went to the embassy, the High Commission, and disputed. I understand there was a heated argument between him and the High Commissioner, that what he was saying about him was a palpable untruth. And thereafter, the High Commissioner called me to inform me that that particular person had been rude to him, that I should talk to him. I called him and spoke to him, and he said what allegation he had made against him was an untruth, and he couldn't understand why he was saying that. Whereupon the High Commissioner then told me that he was going to further investigate and get back to me. And he also said I should also do my own investigation and get back to him. Okay. Only to wake up and be bombarded with this today. And I'm sorely disappointed with what has happened.
Well, so he's expressing his disappointment with the situation. But let's speak to Dr. Okoboy. And Dr. Okoboy, we know that these things could happen to anyone if there's a lack of circumspection. What do you think the lessons there are that we all can draw from this? Especially you and you.
I think it's always an unfortunate situation when a noble institution like Parliament gets caught up in such allegations or such circumstances. What I want to say is that we have to be circumspect about our commentary, because for now we have a unilateral letter which has come from one side, that's the Commission, stating that these individuals took their relatives to the UK and they overstayed and all that. And I think it's unfortunate. I believe that diplomatically it is not that well, it's not that good. I don't think it's too appropriate to release or issue such a statement which casts a slur on Parliament when it's actually not coming from a forum that has listened to both sides, like the courts.
Well, this one, we're basing this on media reports.
Yes.
Because this is because of the leaked letter that went to the Speaker from the High Commission.
Exactly.
Signed by the High Commission.
Yes, I appreciate all that. But my issue is that, now, the way media, the way, not you per se, but the way media operates, once it's...
You mean the generality?
Yes, generality. Once it's being discussed and all that, if anybody meets any of these MPs, all they say is that, oh, Nana, I've
never seen you so somber.
So it's Roland, it's worrying. And
yes, and
Nagba Sani. So it's sad, it's unfortunate. But I think one or two of them say they are going to challenge this in the courts and all that. I think basically we just have to be careful, as like my brother said, like as politicians or people with some privileges. There are others who might come to you with ill motive. You might not know. You might be genuine. So it's unfortunate. What I want to say is that our partners, when it comes to diplomacy, should give us some level of how do you call
some
it?
room.
Some room. You know, these things can be handled. You can ban someone from going to the UK when you look at it for 10 years without leaking it to the press. The fellow will still suffer.
Nobody leaked it.
Sorry.
The letter to the letter to
the speaker is what went out.
Went out to the press. I don't know.
Yes.
I can say leaked to the press.
Yes. So, all right. So it's.
So I don't know which of the sides leaked it. I
maybe on the way.
Yeah. No, as for though, we know
when it was being delivered.
I'm not.
It looks like an electronic letter, though.
I'm not one of those who question why media gets documents. I know that
media. We have ways of getting them.
So I don't question, I don't begrudge you.
We have sources.
Yes, I don't begrudge you. That is not my issue. My issue is that I wish there was a way to institute punitive measures if they are genuine or legitimate without having all this coming out. And please, let me say here emphatically that the fact that a statement has come from the commission is not an absolute indicator that these gentlemen are guilty of what is being reported.
We're not saying they are guilty.
Yes.
We're discussing media reports that are indicating that the allegations of visa fraud, which is rocking Parliament, authenticated by a black and white leaked letter that was sent to the Speaker of Parliament.
That has been made clear. Let me just.
Former MP knows one of the. One of the characters.
The characters and all that, they exist. They exist.
Oh, they are always,
like he's there. They exist. You know what? When any person says that there is a funny character or you have such people at an institution like Parliament, not necessarily part of the institution, but operating within its confines and all that, to argue against it will be funny because it's a human institution, like he started saying. But the most important thing is that in making conclusions which will impugn on the integrity of others, we must make sure that the premise is very solid. That is my argument. We all should be cautious. When it comes to this, I also must commend the leadership. I know that leadership, the speaker, the majority leader, the minority leader, they took a lot of pains to go into some of these matters. They engaged the commission, trying to see how we make sure that the wrong things are not encouraged, but at the same time, the integrity of people who have not been dealt with, fairly, who have not been, given the opportunity to explain themselves. They are not put on the chopping board.
You see, in Parliament, every member of Parliament, what I have realized is that people don't even update their records. I went to Parliament with a child. Okay, before I left Parliament, I had another child, so I have 2 children.
So now you have 2 children now.
But before I left Parliament, let's say for the last 2 quarters that I left Parliament, I have not gone to update the list with the name of my second child. Okay, so if I present that second child in a travel to a mission like the UK, definitely with the background knowledge that they have,
when something like this happens, they will investigate.
Yeah, so there are a lot of things. Yeah. So what I want to say is that members of Parliament should continuously update their personal records. It's very important because maybe somebody enters even into Parliament with 1 wife. Okay. By the time he gets out, he has about 4 or 5.
Or perhaps could even divorce and marry another.
Exactly.
Perhaps maybe even that could explain. If you read the letter itself.
That is why.
If you read the letter itself. The letter itself. I think a member of Parliament traveled at one instance with a different wife with a different name.
Exactly.
But the next time the wife was different, but the same daughter. You understand?
They might have checked from our records and realized that that name wasn't in the records. So they will take it as something fraudulent.
That's right.
People come into Parliament and within their 4 years, they have about
they
4
marry,
wives.
divorce.
Yeah,
I think we have evidence even to show that.
So I believe that in order to nip some of these things in the bud, updating records are also very important. Those who keep the records of members of Parliament should always constantly remind them to update their records.
Okay.
Because if you don't do that, yes, some of these things might happen to you. maybe you've not committed any crime, but because the names are different from what you have on your records, it will be used against you.
No, my cool Dr. Okoboy this morning on this subject. You're so cool. So right now, what lessons have you drawn now?
Yeah, I think.
I'm not saying that you are going to be the next victim, but I'm saying that what lessons.
He might fall into it.
You know, it is important to be in the, how to call it, in a position to want to learn. You know, I believe that some of us who entered Parliament, this 7th Parliament, we know that it's an institution with a lot of how do you call it, intricacies, and as you go along, you learn. What is important is for you to communicate or to you know, talk to those who are in there, and then get to know what is appropriate and what is inappropriate. I think by so doing, largely, you'll be on a safe, how do you call it, path. Sometimes you can also have people who have been there for long, not necessarily newcomers, who find themselves in some of these, engaged in some of these things. It's all about desire, and like he put it, be careful not to want too much or greed, or you can't satisfy entirely your pleasure. You just must operate within the norms and the codes of conduct. So nobody is being judged here. We all are in a position to learn, and we are going to do so.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, and thanks for passing through the studios today. Dr. Okoboy is a member of Parliament for Lejakuku, and also Theophilus Tetechai is a former member of Parliament for Ablekuma Central. And we've been discussing many issues. And thank you, gentlemen. I'm grateful for the time. Now, the Hajj Board has started implementing plans for this year's pilgrimage. Maswal Agbagba will speak to Alhaji A.R. Gomda, who is a member of the Hajj Board. And we'll bring you all that next.